So, the lovely Michelle has asked me to do a video recommending books based on Harry Potter. So that's what this video is. I don't know whether you'll necessarily agree with these recommendations, but I've tried to be a little bit creative with it, and I do have reasons for suggesting all of these. So I thought I would start with potentially the most controversial, outlandish option, which is Orange, which is a manga by Ichigo Takano. Now, you're probably wondering why I'm recommending a contemporary manga for readers and lovers of Harry Potter, but bear with me, I have my reasons. We follow a friendship group who are incredibly close and look out for each other so well, and their relationship with each other really reminds me of Harry, Ron and Hermione, who are also always there for each other and always looking out for each other. We also have a friendship group in this one who are really struggling with something, and I think that we can all agree that Harry, Ron and Hermione struggle with quite a lot of things in the Harry Potter series. And finally, we have a common enemy. In Harry Potter, it's Voldemort. In this, it's depression. Now, that's abstract, I get it, but it's still a common enemy and something that we can relate to, and something that all of the friends have to work together to overcome, and it affects one of them more than the others, but it still affects everyone. So I do think that there are some parallels here. Yes, it is very different, I get that it's a very obscure recommendation based on Harry Potter, but I really love this manga series. It comes in 2 compilation volumes, and then there's an epilogue in a separate volume, and I really do highly recommend it for fans of Harry Potter because I think that some of the themes really cross over, particularly those of friendship and defeating a common enemy. The next 4 are slightly more obvious choices, at least for me, and if you know my reading tastes and the books that I love, then you're probably not going to be surprised by any of these. The first is the Black Magician Trilogy by Trudy Canavan. In this book we follow an orphan named Sonia, orphan the same as Harry, and she's raised by her aunt and uncle as well, although to be fair, her aunt and uncle are lovely to her, not horrendous like the Dursleys are to Harry. Either way though, she discovers that she had magic that she didn't know anything about, and that results in her having to go to a magic school. Unlike Harry though, she doesn't particularly fit in there, and so she has a lot of her own struggles to deal with at the magic school, particularly when she discovers a dark secret that could jeopardise everything. There's a common enemy. I'm not going to tell you any more about that because spoilers, but I feel like this one is pretty similar in terms of story arc to Harry Potter, and so that made it a pretty obvious suggestion on my part. Then one that follows a similar sort of concept but is a little bit different, that is the Society of the Sword series by Duncan Hamilton, which follows a character who is an orphan, and he discovers that he has some pretty good sword fighting abilities because he has watched sword fighting from the rafters for free for years, even though he probably shouldn't have, and he's discovered and sent off to a school to become a sword master, and he excels in that role, and that sends him off on a lot of adventures. I don't want to say too much about this series because I feel like it's much more of a plot-driven story than a character-driven story, so I definitely don't want to spoil it for that reason, and for that reason it is quite different from Harry Potter. There might be some magic a little bit later on, but it's much more focused on sword fighting ability, but I feel like Soren really reminds me of Harry quite a bit, so I recommend that one. Then we have something that's a little bit closer but in a totally different genre, and that's epic fantasy. Mistborn by Brandon Sanderson. This one is actually, when I thought about it, a lot closer than I ever realised. Our main character is Vin. She is an orphan and she is brought up in pretty brutal and horrendous circumstances. Her brother pretty much raises her, but he's not exactly kind to her, and the rest of the time she's in a gang where she's not particularly well treated and abuse is very much alluded to. But she has magical powers that she's probably been using for years but didn't actually realise what it was. And eventually she's discovered and she's brought into a new crew, and Kelsia, the leader of that crew, trains her in using her magic, and she becomes a really, really strong and great magic user very, very quickly. Alongside that, there's an evil overlord called the Lord Ruler, who Kelsia's gang want to overthrow to release the Scar population from the Lord Ruler's oppression. And Vin is instrumental in that plan, particularly as she is a Mistborn, which is a type of very rare magician in this world who can access all types of magic, not just one. And she has to work with the rest of the team to achieve that goal. Now, she isn't quite the chosen one trope, but I don't think a lot of people like that trope, so I think the fact that that's missing from this makes it actually a good recommendation for Harry Potter fans, because I don't think a lot of us love the whole chosen one thing. But Vin is just such a great character and you get so connected to her. I actually like Vin a heck of a lot more than I ever liked Harry, and I think that this is a really perfect recommendation for people who loved Harry Potter. I think you really will love this. I think everybody would love this. I basically want everybody to read this. It's Brandon Sanderson. Are we surprised? And then finally, I thought I would come in with a middle grade option for those Harry Potter fans that are in their younger years or just want that more nostalgic Harry Potter childlike early books feeling. So we have Nevermore, The Trials of Morrigan Crow by Jessica Townsend, which follows Morrigan Crow, who, although she isn't an orphan, her family treat her pretty badly. She's cursed, and so everything bad that happens to her family, or basically anybody in the town she lives in, is blamed on her. She's cursed to die on her 11th birthday, and so clearly everything that goes wrong is definitely her fault. And then her 11th birthday rolls around, and instead of dying, she is rescued by a man named Jupiter North, who whisks her off to the magical land of Nevermore, where she competes in a competition to join a magical school. So this is a little bit of a mix between Philosopher's Stone and the Goblet of Fire, because we've got the competition trope here, but also the magical school setting. I haven't read the second book in this series yet, but I understand the magical school is more prevalent in that one than in this one. This one's much more focused on the whimsical world of Nevermore, the magic that Morrigan never knew existed, and the competition that she takes part in. Vibe-wise, this is very much more like the early books of Harry Potter, like I mentioned, but I think if you want that nostalgia, or if you want a recommendation for a younger reader, I think this is a pretty good one. And that's it. Those are 5 recommendations for Harry Potter lovers. I hope that one of these calls out to you. If you decide to pick one up because of this video, please let me know. That would be amazing. But that's it for this one. Thank you so much for watching. If you like this video and want to see more like this from me, then do think about hitting that subscribe button, and I hope to see you here again soon. Thanks. Bye.